Welcome back to the Stoop football fans. It's your boy Lolo. Sorry for running just a minute late. Had a bit of a power issue down here in the basement, which I may have to get sorted in a minute here. But let's go ahead and kick off the show. I got everything working for now. Happy Friday. Welcome back. Welcome me back. I wasn't here last Friday, but there we go. Cheers to you guys.
Cheers. What do you got?
Love that song, that sound. Cheers, John.
What do you got?
An IPA, Lagunitas.
Yeah. All right.
What do you mean, ugh? Fantastic.
I'm not an IPA guy. That's all.
I know. But I love it. So welcome back. It's Friday. We have Premier League action today. We got to see Tottenham Hotspur play Nottingham Forest with another crazy challenge by another Tottenham player that actually got red carded today. But we'll get into that later. We're going to talk about last week's action with Arsenal dropping points to Aston Villa, who just seem to be on fire, especially at home. But we're going to talk about their title chances. Are they actual title contenders? Or is it something that is unsustainable? We'll see. We'll see what everybody thinks. I know I have my opinion. What is your opinion? Put it in the comments section below. And don't forget to let us know where you are watching the show from in the world. I'm in Brooklyn right now. I know we have some guests in from England, some guests, people watching from Leeds, people watching from London, all over the place. So very good to see you guys. Pincushion, 22 months has been a member. Thank you so much for that. We love the support, Pincushion. Anders is here as well. John Luff Garside. Good to see you guys. Scooby D2 and Brimmer's Ghost is here. Very good to see you. Roman E, very good to see you as well. Welcome to the show. Tony says Villa winning isn't really a Leicester, though, is it? And I agree. A lot of people saying, oh, Leicester City. Very, very different thing. Roman watching from Chicago. Well, hell yeah, my friend. Cheers. All right. So let's get to it. We are talking about Arteta being cleared by the FA for not being a disgrace, as he said it. But actually, Arteta was cleared of all charges, and he's not going to be fined or suspended from matches or anything like that for his comments that he made after the Newcastle debacle. Which who knows how that goes. Everybody has their own opinion on that. But what was actually decided was that Arteta didn't really do anything all that out of the ordinary, and that the FA, the referees and the officials there were treating him differently than other managers, which is a huge thing to actually state. So I'm sure Mark has an opinion on that. I'll get him out here in a minute. Aston Villa, I gotta say, it's my first time talking to anybody really on an open forum about Arsenal losing to Aston Villa. What a hard watch that was. I didn't think Arsenal played particularly well. I didn't think Aston Villa played lights out. I think their goal was fantastic. Nothing I can say bad about that goal on an Aston Villa side. On an Arsenal side, that's tough. That's a tough goal. That's a good team goal right there. And John McGinn popping up out of nowhere with a great strike. But the rest of the match, I got to say, it's very tough to watch football all day long and see in the Crystal Palace Liverpool match a challenge in the box where the attacker gets to the ball, the defender kicks their foot afterwards when they were trying to get the ball. Play goes on 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. They finally stop play and go back and review that and review that and review that and review that, and then finally say that's a penalty. Well, cut to the Arsenal game a few hours later, and nearly the exact same challenge where Gabriel Jesus is in the box. He gets his foot to the ball, dumping it off to himself right in front of himself, and he gets kicked in the foot and he falls down. Okay, is it a penalty? Possibly. Would it be soft? Possibly. Would it be harsh on the other team? Possibly. But we just saw one given. And I think that's what's so infuriating for Arsenal fans. And I knew watching it going like, this is just one of those days that it's not going our way. We're going to lose this match 1-0. It's just the way it looks. Our shots were off. We just weren't firing the way that we should have been. And so I knew that penalty was not going to get called, not going to get brought back. And it just hurt to watch because I knew I was going to have to talk about it. And I knew it's just going to bring out the wambulance, like John already popped up there on screen, I'm sure. I'm trying to ignore all of his comments right here that he's popping up on screen. But I'm just saying, I hate that I have to talk about it. I hate that I have to talk about bad calls, inconsistent calls, week in and week out. Even today, with a freaking flying boot to the knee, doesn't get the ball. Knee, the cleats, the studs nail the knee, and they looked at it for like 3 minutes. What is there to look at? Like, I felt like, and you can understand why teams like Nottingham Forest had to be sitting there. Fans of Nottingham Forest had to be sitting there going, they're looking for some reason to not give this against Tottenham, against one of the big clubs. And every time Arsenal gets something, every time Arsenal gets a call or doesn't get a call, I feel that like, now it's just going to be wham, wham, wham. The Arsenal fans, either they always get the call or they're always crying that they didn't get a call. Just suck it up. You lost. The better team won. Possibly. You know, and I hate to put anything against Aston Villa because they played a hell of a game. I just think in other instances, that's a penalty. It was a penalty earlier that day. So I don't know. It's just getting so infuriating. And I'm hearing people say, like, I'm giving up on football. I can't watch football anymore. When you get the likes of Roy Hodgson to come out and say that when he walks away from football, the dude's like 147 years old and has been managing for 145 years. You know, since he was 2 years old, he's been managing in the Premier League, it seems like. And he says that he's going to walk away from football and not miss a thing and be jaded and say it's not the game that I don't care about this game anymore. And that's fucked up to hear somebody like that say that. But it's echoing what the fans are saying right now, and it's really difficult to watch. Once again, Arsenal lost. Villa 15 in a row at home. They've won. Incredible record. They just beat City. Fucking hell of a win. I just hate that we have to bring up VAR every single match day. Anyway, I'll continue bitching by myself if we don't get some support on here to add to the bitching. So let's go ahead and bring on my lovely co-host, Mr. Mark. What's going on, my friend?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another On the Stoop Happy Hour with my lovely host, my main man who couldn't make it last week. I missed you. It was tough.
Yeah, I saw you had a good show, though.
I did okay. Thanks for everybody that put up with me, and thanks for everybody who's with us tonight. There's a lot to unpack in your rant there, and I don't know where to begin.
Well, then let's move on.
I might begin. No. I definitely don't want to do that. I'll start with Arteta because that's where you started. The calls they were terrible, and I cannot get behind this. This is terrible. I don't know why I sound Italian there trying to do Arteta. But man, Arteta went balls out to defend his comments. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know this. You didn't mention it in your brevity of talking about Arteta, but he hired a criminal defense lawyer to help position himself against this call. And not only that, but demanded instead of the PGMOL to have a little private discussion. He asked for a hearing. He wanted to plead his case in front of them, and I thought it was kind of funny because he was crafty, and we know Arteta's crafty. We've been watching him for a few years now. At least I have. You've probably been watching him longer. But he was crafty. He was like, "Oh, no, I was not criticizing the referees. I was criticizing VAR and how it needs to work better. And I can help you make that better," which is just adds to the legendary controversial arrogance of Arteta.
Yeah, well, Mark,
that I can help you with this problem.
But Mark,
again, no.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good point that I didn't mention was the actual case, and he decided, we could do this all behind closed doors, or we can treat this like an actual trial, and we can. I'm going to bring my people, you bring your people. Let's actually do this, and then I'm going to release everything to the public. But so they can see, because Mark, this is the only way things actually change.
I wouldn't call it a trial. I mean, they met at a table. Make no mistake. They did not meet in a courtroom. They met at a table. And all the power to Arteta for very craftily pleading his case. Nothing comes of it. Nothing comes of it other than there won't be a further suspension or a fine or something on Arsenal or Arteta. But nothing.
I wouldn't say that's nothing, Mark. I wouldn't say that's nothing, because it was all lining up. Like Arsenal fans, it's all been on the back burner of they're lining up. This is taking exactly as long, where they're going to come out with a 1-match ban. Look, that's all we're going to give them, a 1-match ban, and it was going to be us playing Liverpool in 2 weeks.
Right. But
and so we were all like, they're just waiting for Liverpool. And so we got out of that. He's here. He's back.
No, absolutely. It worked very, very well. I will say this, as a fan of a squad whose manager has openly complained about the officiating.
Yeah.
I would hope that there will not be further coverted retaliation against Arsenal and Arteta in future matches, because what you did was you stood by yourself. I agree with this, because my manager did it too, and I'm proud of both of them. But the PGMOL has a tendency to take your face and rub it into, don't do that. And bad Mark, dog.
You don't think that's what's been happening the past couple games, where Mikel Arteta gets a second yellow for a 97th minute at a park where they have 3 yards, maybe 2 yards of space. People were having trouble doing throw-ins.
I'm sorry. I cannot sympathize with you there because of the way that Arteta disregards the coaching box.
But
and
that's not where he got the yellow.
That's true.
That's not where he got the yellow. He's celebrating a winner, and 1 foot goes on the pitch as everybody's jumping up, and they come running over and give him a yellow card, and he's like, okay, fine. All right, that's the rules. I did that. But, and then in his case, he was saying his lawyer had shit like FAV Mourinho, FAV Lampard, where managers had done certain things, and their rulings have now established what it means to be an outside, like the outside viewer of everything, what it means to over celebrate, what it means this and this and this. And
I totally get all that, but the thing that bothers me the most is when you bring in a criminal attorney a criminal defense attorney to plead your case. That kind of tells me that you might be just a little guilty and you need some extra help,
or you're fighting against criminals.
He hired a not a prosecuting attorney, but a defending attorney and a criminal defense attorney.
They're treating him like a criminal. They're treating him like a criminal, and they're a bunch of criminals. All I'm saying
is it just makes me wonder, did he think he was just a little guilty? And so I got to go for the big guns, because if you want to get off a criminal defense attorney, and as they said in Better Call Saul, you don't need a criminal defense attorney. You need a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah. Well, listen, whatever he did, it worked, and it actually sets up some precedents that the reason he's trying to do it in the light like this and actually fight it and not just take whatever they're saying is because we know something is wrong right now. Something is broken. This season, oh my God, this season, like not even without an Arsenal hat on, I'm talking Wolves, Man United, Tottenham, Liverpool, City, Villa, all the mid-table teams. Everyone has an instance to bitch about, at least one. And what it comes down to is a consistency thing where we don't know on the day what's a foul, what's a handball, what's an offside, are you going to keep the flag down? You're going to keep it up? Are you going to let us play? Are you not going to let us play? And we're getting it's veering the way the season's going to end. If Liverpool lose by, did they lost to Tottenham or they drew with Tottenham, but they had that goal marked offside that nowhere near should have been offside. If they lose the league by 2 points, this has been swayed. If Arsenal lose the league by 2 points and Joe Willock is saying, dude, the ball was out of bounds when I kicked it, I can't believe they gave us that, which is now in the legal record.
That is absolutely garbage to put that scenario in there. You're creating that alternative universe is what you're doing there.
He used it in a way to show why he was heightened.
Since we're on the subject of fouls and no calls and bad calls and whatnot, and I think that kind of helps us move on to what you were talking about one was a foul and one wasn't, and we don't know what a foul is. And I actually had a question that I threw out in our little game day thread, and it was in the Villa Arsenal game, and I'm not sure when, but there was a shot. I don't know if it was on target or not, but a shot comes into the box. Emi Martinez stops it. He's got it in his clutches, and Kai Havertz comes in and just clatters into him.
Yeah.
Why was that not a yellow card?
So that's a weird situation, and I don't have an answer for you, Mark. Watching it, I remember you sending that out, but Havertz and Martinez were going at it the entire match, so I think that was a little bit of the referees letting them play because they got in each other's faces bad, and I don't know if either of them got yellow carded. I think Kai Havertz eventually got yellow carded.
No, he didn't. And I guess that's what I'm leading into, is because I basically said that I feel that the officials are being very light in their yellow cards toward Arsenal, and this is an example that I would like to use. Because it wasn't like a half a second. It was like there was some time.
That one was late.
Could have stopped himself, but he clattered into him anyway. I thought it was a yellow card, and going back to that, the officials are kind of giving Arsenal the benefit of a doubt. That would have been Kai's 5th yellow and a suspension. And I just, just kind of wondering why that wasn't called.
I have no idea, Mark. I'll have to relook that actual instance, but I have no idea. And I mean, that's part of what's so infuriating to so many people is like, how can a team, yes, Can we help you?
Are you actually going to rewatch that?
No.
Probably, yeah.
There's too much football tomorrow. He's not going to do that. But
well,
and I wouldn't expect you to. But you know, I do think. Look, 2 weeks ago, I bitched long and hard and inconsolably about how I felt that there was an officiating bias on the Wolves heading into the Arsenal match, to where we've had points taken from us, goals taken from us, goals given to other teams, our midfield suspended, essentially for the Arsenal match. But since then, I have seen things. I have seen things, man. I have seen things. But I've seen the non-continuation of play on a foul against Man City. I've seen red cards given that shouldn't have been red cards. I've seen fouls that should have been given but weren't. The thing about the Crystal Palace match versus the Arsenal Villa match, and the I know which penalty you're looking at. I felt that you're right. It's not consistent. The play calling is not consistent. But if one happens before the other, all that creates is like this banter amongst the fans. It's not like the referees sit in a room after match day and I was like, okay, man, going into Sunday, here are all the fouls that have been called. We called this one. It was more of a kind of the officials reading of it than this, and this was VAR and blah blah blah. That doesn't happen. There's no way that they can compare notes and make things consistent in that sense from day to day within the match week. But where I do think that consistency is an issue, I actually think that they got it right in the Arsenal game and they got it wrong in the Crystal Palace game. In the Arsenal game, it felt like Douglas Luiz and was it Jesus?
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, I felt that they were just both going for the ball and they made contact. I don't think there was anything malicious or unsafe, but it could have been the other way where Jesus struck him.
But Mark,
because they're both going for the ball.
But Mark, as a Wolves fan, you've seen this enough. If the attacker gets to the ball, it could be last second. Oh, both feet, they're almost going to get it. And the attacker gets a toe and then the foot kicks the attacker. Penalty.
Yeah.
What makes this one different?
Because in the case of the Wolves examples, the feet are on the ground and making contact.
It's even worse.
In this particular case, the legs are in the air. And I felt that that Douglas Luiz and Jesus were both going for the ball. And they made contact. Both of them missed the ball, by the way.
No, Jesus got the ball.
No.
Yes, he
Both
did.
of them missed the ball. Well, this is a he said, and we
it's not. It's on video.
We
Jesus
can agree.
Gets the ball.
Roll video.
Jesus, we can't.
Roll. There you go. I'm gonna remember it a little bit differently. But what I want to say is that I understand the consistency portion of your argument, but in this case, I feel that the right call happened at Arsenal, the wrong call happened at Crystal Palace. And the Crystal Palace, they were playing who? They were playing City? Liverpool. That's right. They were playing Liverpool. It's hard to tell in those crazy green and white jerseys that they wear.
Oh, I hate those.
They're terrible. I hate the fade. Anybody in the comments want to talk about how like they do that fade transfer between white and green? It's just lighter and darker. I don't know, man. I guess you Leeds fans are kind of like, well, have you seen because if we were in the Premier League, we would have the worst third jersey after Arsenal. But But yeah, I think the Crystal Palace Liverpool one was a little more closer to a trip. But I don't even think that should have been called.
And nobody was asking for it at Palace. I can somewhat I hear what you're saying, because during the Palace match, I was sitting there going, why are they even reviewing this? They're not going to bring it back. They're not going to bring it back. And then they did, and I was like, okay, well, to be fair, he got to the ball first and then he got kicked. So to be fair, it is a penalty, it is a foul. And then we get that shit right there where
you see this is a little more even. We don't know who. Okay, so somebody got the ball. We're not really sure. What does that say? What Leeds fans talks in an accent? Mark just did. I didn't even know I did an accent.
But as you can see on the Crystal Palace one, the Crystal Palace Matete had just kicked the ball, had just gotten a touch, and then he gets kicked. Jesus had just gotten a touch. The ball has just come off of Jesus's foot. And then, so both feet are going for the ball, but Jesus's get there. Douglas Luiz's carry through and don't let Jesus carry on to get the ball.
So you do this a lot where you'll take a photo and hold it up to the screen. So John, if I could go full screen, I'm going to show the photo that I have of that play, and the other two that Lolo just showed, they look really bad, but from this angle, I'm not sure it looks that bad.
He kicks him. That looks worse. His
foot is between his legs. That one, get that one out of there.
His foot is between his legs,
but he's between the legs. So all I'm saying is,
after his legs,
that one looks worse. This one looks not nearly as egregious as the ones that you've shown. And all I'm saying is that this is what VAR does terribly or doesn't do very well. And that's if you look at something long enough from enough angles, you can find what you're looking for. And in this particular case, they didn't.
They didn't look at it long. They didn't. They were like, no, we looked at it. We're
done. 4-minute challenge.
That one wasn't. That one wasn't. No, that was the 4 minute stoppage was for the goal.
Hold on, mister. We got the internet to help us with these things.
The 4-minute stoppage was for the goal.
And was that in the first half or the second half? I think it was in the first half.
The second half was.
It was in the second half. So in the second half, come on. While I'm doing this, we got some people waiting to chat with us, or at least tell us that we're just absolutely stupid and wrong. Bring them on if you don't mind. There was 9 minutes of stoppage time.
You're both stupid and wrong.
Obviously. John was like, wait a minute, what am I saying?
Mr. Tom, Tony, welcome to the show. Hope you guys have enjoyed hearing us bitch about refereeing, even though that wasn't the intention coming into this. It just kind of always happens. Cheers. A Yangling over there in England. A Yangland.
That would make it an Engling. An inkling.
What is going on, fellas? Tom, you look very cheerful.
The very
Which one are you?
Penguins.
Derek 5. Derek 5.5.
Yep, and we got here for fuck's sake, Mr. Tom is out of shave.
Oh, he looks good.
True.
You look 10 years younger there, Tom.
That's very kind of you, Tony. Not what I'm used to in this comment section. Penguins, we've got penguins. Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Everyone loves the Penguins. But
of course we do.
Mr. Tom, can you do us a slight favor and just bring your vocal or your mic volume down just a little bit? You're really clipping.
He's like, I don't know.
How about now?
Well, if you speak really soft.
The penguin. Just speak into the penguin, please.
Speaking to the Penguin
It
about
looks
your
like I'm
involvement.
speaking into the Penguin's ass.
Oh, it's so much. When you speak into the Penguin's ass, you sound so much better. There must be some sort of vibrato going on. But yeah, that's great. Thank you.
You gotta talk like a footballer. Just cover your mouth and talk to the Penguin.
Yeah.
Look,
All
man,
right,
we
what's
have to do
going
is
on,
blitz.
everybody? We've got our Newcastle United fan here. We've got our Leeds United fan here. So what should we talk about with these fellas, Mark? Should we talk about Newcastle crapping out of the Champions League after such an incredible first match?
I do have one thing to bring up about Arteta.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, not so much, not about Arteta specifically, but I was looking up people that have challenged the FA or tried to take them on in regards to a charge. And former Crystal Palace goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy tried to get out of a charge for being photographed doing a Nazi salute. And this is what he claimed. He didn't know what a Nazi salute was, and he didn't know who the Nazis were.
Wow. The life of a professional footballer.
Maybe
he didn't go to school.
Isn't he British
Wales.
though?
No, I think he's Australian.
Wales.
Hennessy?
I think he's Welsh.
No, he's a Welsh.
No.
He's the one who got sent off in the World Cup, I think.
Yeah, he was. But I thought he was
Well,
Australian.
I hate to as crazy of a story as that is. I just remember a good friend of mine who a lot of my other friends call him Steven Spielberg because he's an older dude, lives in the West Village, Jewish, big old beard, like big hair, and coolest guy you've ever met. But he said he was in Times Square and these two gorgeous German chicks, young German chicks, walk up to him and they're talking to him. And oh my God, you're so funny. You are so funny. We don't have anyone like you where we are from. And he was like, because younger people, like, they don't necessarily, it's not in the forefront of like, these are things that you need to know. And especially in Germany where you're trying to like, no, we're moving forward. We're moving on. Younger kids in Germany might not know so much. Younger kids in Wales who play football their entire life and maybe don't go to school possibly don't know about Nazis. I don't know.
I'm not going to buy that blanket ignorance of the world.
He was lying.
I think he was just playing stupid.
I think he was lying.
Yeah.
So similar to Arteta's excuse where he says that he called it a disgrace. He called the officiating a disgrace. And they wrote in their argument, well, you see, the Spanish word is desgracia, which means, it's less of like, oh, disgraceful. And it's more of like, oh, what a shame. What a shame. Oh, that's unfortunate. And so you can see when he said that, he was like saying it's unfortunate that, no, he fucking wasn't. No, he wasn't. He's been playing in England for 20 years. No, he knows. He would have said, it's terrible. It's terrible. Desgracia. But he said, it's a fucking disgrace. But he got away with it. So, yeah, I love it. He got away with one there.
Yeah.
Because he's like,
Chapeau.
the white version means disgraceful.
Huh.
Like
He got away with one. You say he got away with one.
We got away with that one. With that
So
one.
he beat the charge then.
It seems
Yeah.
like that's an admission of
Yeah, he beat
guilt
the charge, yeah.
to say that you got away with it.
Well, he got away with saying they were a disgrace. Absolutely.
Glove did not fit.
Aha.
Yeah.
All right.
And with everything, no, he did exactly what he did. What he is saying is your charges against me are bullshit because this has happened before and this has happened before. Please look at FA versus Mourinho, FA versus Lampard, FA versus Rooney. All the ones that he used and got away with it. And he just had to clear up
the sounds
disgrace.
you hear are Lolo backpedaling.
I am not backpedaling. I'm not backpedaling at all.
Either
lied and
he got
with it.
away with it or he didn't get away with it. Where you
He
going?
got away with the disgrace comment by playing the Basque card, because that's a bullshit excuse.
Oh my
All
goodness!
all the rest
Wayne
of his reasoning
Hennessy
was
is a
solid.
Nazi, everyone. That's what we've discovered today.
That's not what I said. I was saying everything, but I don't know his leanings towards any of those parties. Why are we talking about Wayne fucking Hennessy?
To be clear, I didn't bring up that with the implication he is of that persuasion.
Well,
I just found
marketing
it
skill.
hilarious that he had the audacity to claim that, to get
didn't
out
know.
of, like, just like, all right, you put your hand up and you were photographed. Like, just say, I wasn't doing the salute. Don't then go, I don't know what it is.
See, I thought you were going to say, when you first brought this up, that he was going to use, no, they took a photo at the end of my Leeds United salute. I was doing a Leeds United salute, which to me always looks sketchy when
they took
the
my
whole
photo
stand is
after
doing.
I was saying hello to
I'm
a
like,
bunch
hey,
of
whoa,
Nazis in the
whoa.
stand. You know.
Yeah. Now,
Anyway, we should move.
I thought that word would get used a lot on this show.
Tony's like, I'm not saying a word on this
We're-
fucking podcast. I am
We're
going
well
to be
over
canceled.
the Nazi quota tonight.
It's okay. I'm not going to do a Nazi salute. So.
Well, okay.
We just doubled our Nazi usage.
Of the word?
Of the word, yes. I have no idea.
Oh.
If we were doing the word of the day and you had to drink, then that would just absolutely floor us all.
Nazi.
Drink! You just will drink!
Oh, my gosh.
Man.
Okay. Let's get back to football, can we?
Yeah,
will
please.
we ever?
I had no idea Hitler played football.
So I want to talk to Tony about Newcastle because after the Arsenal match, we heard from a bunch of Newcastle fans, we're never going to lose again.
No, I never said
Arsenal,
that.
you're fucking crybabies. Win.
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, I did say
and
that.
then you guys have gone and lost a shit ton of games. What's going on with you, man? What's going on? I know Kieran Tierney was Kieran Trippier was seen yelling at fans.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
After a loss.
Yeah,
he was like, "What do you want from us? What do you want from us? We got nobody healthy. We got nobody."
Yeah, because then that guy was like ridiculed on Twitter, that fan. And because everyone like posted like his LinkedIn and his like Facebook and stuff, and started like ousting him on Twitter. I was like, well, because they beat Man United, beat Arsenal, beat Chelsea, and then lost Everton, Tottenham, and Milan this week. So not a good stretch, but yeah, I just want anybody healthy. I'll take anybody to come back. So it was the minute we saw Pope go down, my wife was like, "Oh my God, another guy is down! Like, how many people are hurt now?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's bad. It's bad." So
yeah, how many of your first team players are out? I heard it was a ridiculous number, but
I think it's
maybe
10 now, with Byrne and Longstaff coming back.
Out of what, 22?
Yeah, they have to play 15-year-olds yet.
They had a 17-year-old keeper on the bench for the Champions League because Mark Gillespie wasn't. Lewis Miley's been playing and he's 17 years old. He played Chelsea, Man United, PSG, and like pretty much it's been the same starting 11 like the last like month because he's like, all right, okay, who's healthy? All right, you got yeah, you know you're starting, so here you go. So it's been rough.
I've suffered through injury crises at Leeds. Okay. I know proper injury crises. I've seen Archie Gray go to. I didn't watch him go to school. I just mean figuratively. He went to school and then he was coming out of school and then going to sit on the Leeds bench at 15 years old because everyone in the team had every injury except COVID, so he couldn't get the game against Arsenal called off. for example.
Yep. Had you had one guy with COVID, you would have been able to call it off. I
We
remember
had
that one.
every injury known to man except the one that would actually get the game called off.
Yep. Fearpo's mustache had crabs. It was crazy.
Exactly.
I thought it had a cramp.
I forgot
It
about
probably
that.
did. It does most of the lifting.
But man, I got to tell you, Tony, you know, man, Newcastle just they can't get a break.
Yeah.
You know, and it
get
doesn't
right.
like you know, your best hope is that you get someone back before your next best player is injured. And you know, Newcastle right now has given up what 7-8 goals in the last 2 games.
Last
Fulham-
3, so
Fulham-
it's 3 Everton, 4 against Tottenham, and then 2 against Milan. So
Yeah.
my math, I'm not quick at math, but
And
that's
I
8.
just I read today that Trippier is out of the match against
Yeah, he's out.
against Fulham,
Yeah.
who is a team that has found their shooting boots.
Yeah, I'm like, oh
Fulham
god.
has scored like 13 goals in 3 games.
Of all the times
Fulham.
to lose you.
Actually, if you go back to the Wolves match, Mark, in 4 games, they've scored 16.
Nope, we're not doing that because the officials gave them 2.
We're not
The
counting
officials
those
gave
3.
'em 2.
We're saying 13 and
count one.
3. It's
I'll
not
count
16 and
one.
4.
I'll count 1, but the other 2 were bullshit calls. So if you're poking the wolf. Where's my badge? Goddamn.
Mark, you can't say that. You're gonna need to get a lawyer and lawyer up. You've been talking bad about the officials.
I will represent myself, and I have Exhibit A through J.
Yeah, but Mark,
And
it's in
3
England. You need one of
officials
those wigs.
In 3, I will get a wig. I will get, and let me tell you, I will. And I curl them up.
Mean Gene.
I will look the biggest. I will look the most magistrate of all magistrates.
Oh.
I will wear a robe and nothing else.
Ric Flair's about to stroll in Mark's
All
door.
right.
Woo!
The question for everybody else, because that was just such a very detailed and graphic depiction. Can anybody answer why Mark, what we were talking about to get Mark to threaten us to have a wig and bare chest?
I think you were counting the Fulham goals in the number that I was saying. Is Fulham has scored X amount of goals.
Yeah.
In the 10 goals in the last 2. Let's just shorten it. 10 goals in the last 2. Raul Jimenez, who almost everyone has forgotten about, scored a brace in that last match. And they weren't jerky, like lucky rebound goals.
No, they were
These
nice
were
goals.
like, one was a classic Raul Jimenez header, you know, off the whatever bandage.
Off the
he
bandage.
wears.
I was gonna
Is he
say
still wearing it?
he got a brace.
He
Doesn't he
has
usually
to.
carry one
He has
around?
to.
Let me just give a quick shout out to some of these new people who've popped in the comments section while we've been going nuts talking about all sorts of stuff. Sam Greenwood, good to see you on here. I don't know why I highlighted that comment of yours. I'm not sure what you were talking about.
What's the one, Jeremy?
Glenn, AFC New York. Good to hear from you, Glenn. I know you're all over the place all of the time. But if you're in New York right now, we're right around the corner from you. So good to see you, Glenn. Who else has shown up here? Did I get all the newcomers here in the comment section? All right, good to see y'all. So, Tony, do you have any hope against Fulham? Because as you know, they've scored 10 in 2 or 16 in 4, depending who you ask.
I'll stretch my arm past the camera and just be like, I'd be
what
happy
does the
with...
Premier League say they scored?
That's what
It's funny. It's blurry on it's blurry on the website. That one game is just blurry, but you can kind of see through that it says 3.
Okay.
I'd be happy with a 2-1 win tomorrow, especially because it's at home. So I'll
I
take
think
that.
you'd have to be very happy with the 2-1 win. I just think Fulham are feeling themselves right now.
Yeah.
And they're right in the thick of things in the mid-table right there. They're sitting at 10th. But they're right in the thick of it.
Yeah, they're
but
proving to be a very dangerous team. I don't know what unlock they hit, but all of a sudden they found the shoe. They opened up that trunk in the back
Pandora's
room
box.
after killing the big boss, and they found those shooting boots, those magical shooting boots, and it's working for a lot of people, man.
yeah, and even
Iwobi is on fire. Sam Greenwood, absolutely.
Willian
I'm
is
very
scoring goals.
surprised.
Yeah, but Willian came off hurt in that last match, and I'm curious if he's going to be able to go. But so many people are hurt right now.
Tony just crossed his fingers so hard his computer almost broke.
Fulham's form is my fault.
Well, because then we have Chelsea on Tuesday in the League Cup, so I'm curious.
Well, you know what's
how
crazy is that
tomorrow goes.
a Newcastle United fan just crossed his fingers so hard that Willian
has had a bit of a renaissance.
might have an injury and won't start for Fulham. How far have you fallen, Newcastle United?
The pensioner Willian.
It's like, oh fuck, thank God Thiago Silva and David Luiz and Willian and fucking Neymar. All of Brazil 84 is out now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Willian has had a bit of a renaissance, or a renaissance, as Kunk on Earth would say. A renaissance.
Oh yeah, I just saw a renaissance.
The renaissance. How would you say about your thoughts on the renaissance?
You literally have a double E in your name, Greenwood.
Tom, you said Fulham's form is your
Fulham's
fault?
form is my fault, because I remember 2 weeks ago when we were doing the show and we brought up the table, and I believe I pointed and laughed at Fulham for being the only team with a minus goal difference in the top 10, I believe, at the time. I think they had -8, and I was questioning how it was such an outlier that they would be in the top half with poor goal difference. And then Fulham just went and overturned that for me in 2 weeks. I wasn't asking them to, but they seemed to think I was.
Love seeing Chelsea at 12th there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Mark, you got to win just to overturn them this weekend.
West Ham's going to be tough. I mean, they had a game on Thursday? They had a game?
Yeah, yesterday.
They had a game on Thursday. I honestly thought they would get their asses kicked because the team they were playing scores a lot of goals, but a 2-0 result was really great for West Ham.
David Moyes has an idea about the competition, the cup competitions. You know, after winning the Conference League,
and
like
if that's the remedy, is to stay afloat if that's the prescription, I should say, for David Moyes' team, is to stay afloat in the Premier League and to just continue to win trophies in Europe. I guess it's working so far. But with that said, everyone, hey, we got 17 people watching us right now. We've got 11 likes. Can we boost that up to 17? Can the 6 of you watching right now that hasn't said, I like this show, these guys are all right,
threatening 6 random people,
for a couple of Brooklyn boys that
threatening everybody.
Yeah,
let's do it, Mark. Let's get those numbers up.
Get those numbers up. I feel like I'm Jerry Lewis. I don't know what I'm doing there. Hey, we just jumped up 2, so it's working. And we just lost 2 viewers. So we don't know what's happening.
Intimidated by Mark.
They liked it and they were like, peace. That's the last time you tell me to do something. I'm going to do it, but then I'm out of here.
You're going to fucking like us whether you like it or not, all right? Hey, John, back me up. Director. He's watching the Rangers.
He's more likely to red card you. Don't ask him for cards. Don't ask him for stuff. Yeah, if he's not popping up shit talking to you, he's probably watching Rangers and coming up with new graphics.
For the Rangers.
So yeah, let's go Rangers.
He just posted.
What is that other logo?
I think it was Tampa Bay.
Anaheim.
Anaheim.
Anaheim. Another one of those warm weather cities that don't deserve hockey. I always felt that like hockey should just be played in cold weather cities.
The fact that
It
Las
just
Vegas
doesn't make
has
it
won
doesn't make
multiple
sense
championships.
that it doesn't make sense that like
Las
that
Vegas.
Las Vegas has what are they, the Golden Knights?
Golden Knights, yeah.
And
He also
apparently
owns
Makes
Bournemouth.
tons of sense.
apparently
Bournemouth.
when their first year as the Golden Knights, when you would Google the Golden Knights, you would be directed to like this porn site or this burlesque porn site because they didn't bother to
distinct
check,
difference.
and it was just like, oh yeah, well, it's a stick and a.
I'm gonna have to ask: was it burlesque or was it porn? Because it's genuinely different.
It's
I don't.
quite
I'm
a big.
I'm well aware, but maybe it was just a hybrid. These days, it could have been a mash. Who knows?
I was just asking for a friend named Derek.
I think you were asking for a friend to finger the duck.
And speaking of Las Vegas, nice to see them beating Man United last weekend because they are also the owners of Bournemouth.
What a random thing. Imagine being the owner of that and you're like walking around town. You go out on a date at some high society thing. So, what do? I own the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Bournemouth Cherries. It's like, what the fuck did you just say?
I have questions about this.
My question is why you said it in like this Audrey Hepburn voice.
Why, thank you, darling.
Was it Katharine Hepburn? No,
I am Katharine Hepburn. And
No,
I
thought Lolo was asking
it.
He was saying it like he was going to get out a white glove and just start slapping people who didn't start buying Bournemouth season tickets.
He was just going to walk around the studio. Just going to walk around the studio and just go, this is filthy.
If you must know, I own the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Bournemouth Cherries. I'm from everywhere in that accent.
He's like a 70-year-old plus. He went to West Point, so that's why he named them the Golden Knights.
Oh, well.
Yeah, random fact.
It would be better if Katharine Hepburn owned them.
Yeah, definitely.
Come on, you Golden Knights. We must score another touchdown goal.
In the multiverse, she does.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, that was great watching Bournemouth just take Man United town.
There'll be a version of this universe where everything you just said is how it is.
And for all of you watching us for the first time,
and Leeds are still being the championship.
We talk about porn and Nazis all the time.
Nazi porn is actually one of my favorite things.
You're turning those thumbs up down. Or maybe the other way around. Maybe it's working.
I have no idea.
We have more likes than we've ever had.
Criminal defense attorneys, Nazis, and porn. Come on down to the stoop.
That's why you're the head of our social media.
Yay! Our social media run by someone who was born before social media. It's true, folks. There was a time where our phone was attached to a wall.
Wasn't it so good back then? Wasn't it so good?
No, it was great because you had a cord that stretched for like
now
3,000 feet.
And you know what? Sometimes when I'm on like a long call and I don't have my Bluetooth and I'm just like that, I find myself doing this.
Yeah, you did. You did. And you played with it. You wrapped it around your head. Like, you made a little whatever.
News.
But the word.
And then your mom comes up. Who did that? Who did? You got the thing on it?
We don't own this phone. Because you used to rent your phone.
We are renting this phone from
You didn't
Sears.
own your phone. You rented it from the phone company. They came and they installed it, and you would buy the long cord.
Dial-up internet.
Dial-up internet was the worst. Oh my god, my roommates used to want to castrate me because I would just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna order a pizza," and I would pick up the phone, and you would disconnect the internet. And they would be like, God damn it, I was downloading music. Now I have to wait another 3 days to do this.
Mark, it wasn't downloading music. I was downloading a song.
Right.
LimeWire.
Whatever it was.
I have been doing this.
mean,
A
you know,
song.
it took you
The
back
best
in the
thing
day.
that
It took you like 3 days to download shit. You know, it took you like forever.
No one ever got a virus on their computer because they were downloading music.
Because that virus took a week to download. It was just like, I'm hiding in the background, and
It's
then
like,
I'm
we've
gonna kick
taken
you in
all
the
your
ass."
documents, and you're like,
I liked
does
how
documents?
Lolo's female voice then was basically the mother from Tom and Jerry.
what female voice did I do?
It was about a minute ago, but it sounded
What
like
was I saying?
I'll say the mother. It's basically like the lady whose face you never
Yeah.
see in Tom and Jerry,
Oh my!
and then beats the shit out of the cat.
Yeah.
I always got the
Yeah.
broom. Poor
Yeah.
guy.
All right. Well, we've taken all of Tony's time talking about something else. Okay. Anybody have any other thoughts on Newcastle United? What the hell's going on with them? First, let me just say my condolences for getting knocked out of Europe and getting knocked out of Europe completely, because I know that day must have been a wild one, because with Dortmund and PSG playing each other, that was at a draw for so long, and then Dortmund goes up, you guys go up, it's all good, we're moving on, and then it all fucking collapses for you. But from what I saw, you're not even going to the Europa League.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, no
So-
Conference League, no Europa League. It's fully out.
That's
You're
a
just fucking
blessing in
done.
disguise for Newcastle at the moment.
I was going to
because
say, yeah, blessing in
that's-
disguise.
last
that's-
thing they need is more football matches.
Yeah. I think that Europe came too fast for Newcastle. Newcastle had a wildly successful season last year that I think that it exceeded Newcastle's expectations. And I think that those extra games in Europe kind of were like, we're not there yet, and the competition just kind of proved it. But I think also you can concentrate now, although injuries are absolutely fucking killing you. I mean, you just recently lost
Nick Pope.
you're just losing players left and right, but
Yeah.
you lost Gordon and you lost Trippier.
Gordon's maybe for tomorrow. Trippier like had a knock, and then I think with a full squad they would have like done better in that group than they
Right.
obviously did. But I mean, you have Jamal Lascelles starting against Kylian Mbappe, and
Yeah,
it wasn't
it's a
supposed
tall
to be that
task.
way. Yeah, but I think with a full squad with everybody healthy, that would have been, even the whole season would have been different. Probably wouldn't have lost to Bournemouth like that, and maybe not even played Arsenal like they did because
Yeah,
of who they would have had. It would have been a different tactic,
Yeah.
different games. So, I think. Plus the Tonali thing, the betting thing. So just a whole crazy. Harvey Barnes breaks his toe, and when they were beating Sheffield United 8-0 or whatever it was, like just crazy accidents have happened this year.
Right.
So.
I mean, look, you guys are like what, 7th?
Yeah.
Given all your injuries, that's a testament to what your team is capable of. Unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get healthy anytime soon.
No.
And I'm not really sure that you can be a team that is so injured and kind of ride it out. Spurs, sorry, Lolo, but the Spurs, given how hurt they are, all the suspensions, they're holding tight at 5th. And, I'm very curious what type of team they're going to be when Madison and Van der Veer come back. Because they're holding it close. They should be a lot farther back than they are. Brighton too.
fucked.
Another team that's facing a lot of injuries. Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle will be fine.
Yeah, the problem with this season is so many teams are dropping points, and we're dropping them to each other. With City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Tottenham, Man United, Newcastle, Brighton. Like those 8 to me are the ones that are really. Oh, I named them all correctly. Well, there you go.
Right.
Those 8, you're looking at an 11-point difference in 8 teams. Arsenal at one point last season was up by what? 8 points, 10 points?
You guys were up by 9.
9 points clear.
Yeah.
And we lost the league. So in my head, being first, being second right now doesn't fucking matter as long as we're keeping it within 10.
Right.
Anything can happen. Anything can fucking happen. So I'm going to get to this in the second half of the show when we talk more about Aston Villa's title hopes, everybody's title hopes. But to me, if who's in the title battle right now, I would almost say those 8 clubs, to be honest, like, because anything can happen. Yes, it drops down after Tottenham, like the Tottenham, Man United. If you stuck with the top 4 right now, that could probably will be the battle. But City goes on runs. That's why nobody at City is worried, because they know they go on 10-game runs where they don't lose. They know Villa's not going to do that. They know Arsenal's not going to do that. But Liverpool could do that. Arsenal could do that. Tottenham could do it. Man United could fucking do it. So right now, there's no point getting all hot and bothered about, we're hanging on to 8th place when the difference between 6th and 10th is 1 point, 2 points. I'm ranting through to halftime. So here we go.
His own team, please.
Well, this is extra time.
This is
all right,
Arteta
folks. Is it time for our bio break? Because I know this old man needs a bio break. That didn't really work, but yeah, man, we'll come back and have more of this.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna have a quick bio break, and we'll be right back with Betting in the Dark with Mr. Tom, and then we will talk Aston Villa's title hopes, everybody's title hopes, all of that stuff. And just a little heads up, Mark, if I'm not back at the end of the bio break, send help. No, I need to. It looks like my neighbor's power went out, so I need to go try and sort out their power situation. So if I'm not back yet, carry on without me. All right, let's do it. Bio break. We'll be right back, folks.
It's 3.
Are you muted?
I'm muted. I'm telling jokes and I'm muted, which is probably for the best. Welcome back to the second half of On the Stoop. I am your co-host, Spawny Mark here, and I've got Tony, who's also muted. So it's a theme. I don't know. On the Stoop, and we've got Mr. Tom on the Stupid Lolo, the only show that will mention criminal defense lawyers, Nazis, and porn stars all in the same show.
Way to recap for people who just joined us.
We are who we are. We have talked about Mikel Arteta. We have talked about poor calls by VAR. We've been telling the world that we're persecuted by the referees, both Newcastle, Wolves, Leeds, and Arsenal, all together in the same season. Can I ask a question before we move on real quickly? If there was one thing...
Are you going to answer it too?
Yep.
I think so, and I'll be very brief. I'm going to be very brief because I want to see Mr. Tom's bets. But if there was one thing you could change about VAR, what would it be?
The speed of it.
Yeah.
The speed of its application. I
You
don't like that the clock runs
thunder.
while they're taking 5 minutes, because then I think if they get the decision wrong, then you've not only been robbed of the decision, but you're robbed of the time to rectify it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tony?
I would say that if the on-field referee makes the initial call, that it stays with him until he goes to the video.
Right.
Which is that how it is now, or I'm not sure.
It can run a number of different ways. But
They're very
I do see what you're saying, and I agree with that as well. Lolo, what would you change about VAR?
I mean, you have to say the speed for one is a good shout. I don't know. I mean, okay. I think there should be a designated set of ex-pros that were maybe captains, that were maybe pros or coaches who additionally sit in the room as well, because a lot of the decisions that they are go into slow-mo, super slow-mo, and saying, well, you see, there is a touch there, it's a red card, blah, 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 as opposed to having somebody say, oh, he meant that. Oh, he meant that. I know how the game is played. He meant that. Or, oh, that's completely accidental. No, that's not. I think a bit more, there's too much disparity between people who actually know the game and watch the game with passion and with passion as fans or as players versus the cut and dry, which it isn't cut and dry. So I think having that additional viewpoint in that can help with a lot of those, because I think the on-field decision, the on-field referee is a combination of that, where he's in the thick of it. And a lot of times he's saying, no, that is never a penalty. And then they make him watch it in slow-mo, super, super, super slow-mo. And he goes, okay, I give it to him. I guess you're right. When he knew, no, in the speed of the game and the way it was going, no. Or, yes, this is a red card. I've been watching this fucking dude this whole game. So maybe that's not a red card decision, but it's an accumulation of decisions, and that's the last straw. Get the fuck off my pitch. So they need a little bit of that in the VAR room, I guess, is mine.
Right on. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to agree with each and every one of you here. Mr. Tom,
Cheater.
The time...
You get one.
No. I'm just let me summarize here, please. Mr. Tom, the timeline. Oh my God, 4 or 5 minutes. Like today's red card, it didn't need to go that long. Tony, as far as saying it's like, allowing the ref to make the call, says a lot. And the same thing, basically, Lolo, you're echoing, both Tony and Tom. What I will say is, what I would like to see is, I would like to see VAR not interrupt with no calls. So, like, if a referee on the pitch, he doesn't see it, he doesn't see it. VAR, I really hate the fact that VAR can look at something while the game continues for 2-3 minutes, and then it's like, all right, the VAR is calling the ref over. The ref, if the ref should be allowed to make the call, the ref should also be allowed to not make, just like, I don't see it. It's not a call. And that, I think, everything that we're saying here tonight will help us, like the spectator, enjoy the game more, because we won't be talking about VAR as much.
All right, Mark, coming back hot. Coming back for you had a lot to think about on your pee break.
Well, when you're old, it takes some time.
You stand there and you think. All right, well, let's get to Mr. Tom's betting in the dark with Mr. Tom. Let's get to it.
Betting in the dark with Mr. Tom.
Come on, love, place your bets.
And yes, this is Betting in the Dark with Mr. Tom. Just remember, these are all bets that we have asked Mr. Tom to scour the internet and find us something where we can place a dollar bet or a pound bet and get some crazy sort of number up there, which means your chances of winning are those frickin' odds. They're terrible. So we don't recommend you actually place a lot of money on these bets or any money at all. These are all for good fun and seeing what you could do with a pound. So Mr. Tom has turned into a penguin. Mr. Tom, it's all on you now. There you go.
I've authorised Derek to make my picks this week. And if Director John would be so kind to go to the first slide. Excellent. Thank you, John. Derek 2 would like to let you know he went with Everton to get the win at Burnley. Decore is going to score first, and then Beto will also score. Decore's had some good form lately. I'd say he's been a key part of their upturn in form. And Beto is a big lad up front, so that it comes on, I believe. But and you can turn 1 into 168.
Wow. Whoa, that's tough with Decore and Beto. But damn, yeah, 167. Eee.
Calvert-Lewin don't score as much as you'll think he does.
And I also think he's hurt.
Perfect.
Look that up.
Wait, that didn't come out the way I meant it.
But Calvert-Lewin gets hurt a lot. I mean, he's not somebody who's been healthy. But he's not on the list, but I did read or hear on some news program that he might be hurt. So it's a good thing you didn't go that way. I like this. Decore has been getting chances and converting some of them this season. And Beto, I don't know why he doesn't start other than the fact that Decore might have his spot. I would love to see Decore and Beto play together, which is something that Dyche hasn't quite unlocked.
I get the feeling Everton are going to wear Burnley down.
Oh no, Company has no answer right now. He has no answer to his own issues, let alone some other teams.
Okay,
right, let's go to the next one.
John, go to the next one, please. Right, we're going with... Obviously, because there was a Friday night game, I have not gone for the 12 o'clock game on the Saturday. So instead, I've gone for one of the games on the Sunday, pre-main event. I'm going with Arsenal to win 3-1. Saka's due a goal. Havertz is going to keep his vein of form going. And I think it's going to be at Brighton's expense. But they do have a goal in them, obviously, because it's Brighton. 3-1.
Crazy win
just under 190.
Yeah, that was a great goal.
It really was. It was.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
I can't see anything other than Arsenal winning at home.
Yeah, the only thing that I might throw at this is that hasn't Brighton won the last?
Yep. Yeah,
like
they won
5.
Oh, something like that. Yeah.
They've won the last 5 matches at Arsenal. I don't know if De Zerbi's going to continue that, but
no,
that's
there's only so many
there's some
times
league
you can
luck
have a go
going on there. But no, I agree with you, Tom. I don't see this. I see
Brighton won
I
3-0
can
last
see this.
year.
Yeah.
Arsenal 4-2, and then before that, Brighton. So
Yeah.
Arsenal won one of the last 4 meetings.
And Arsenal won at the MX, from what I remember.
The thing is, though, is the disparity between the two teams lies in the what's the best way of putting it? Arsenal spend like 100 million per summer for the last few years, and eventually that's going to man up, and they're going to build a team that's just capable of dispatching Brighton at home.
Mm-hmm.
And it will probably be Sunday.
No, I completely agree. This is at the Emirates, so which has been I don't know, man. I don't know. Both teams have issues. But we'll talk about later on. I'm not as psyched about this bet as I was about the last one.
Well, what would you swap at, or what would you do?
I don't know. I don't know. I look at that 3-1 scoreline, and I do believe Arsenal's going to beat Brighton at home, but I don't. I look at Arsenal right now as like they're not the scoring juggernaut they were last year, and I think that's because that they're playing the extra game in the Champions League and also in the other cups if they're still around. I'm not really sure. So it's almost as if we don't have to go balls out to prove anything to anyone like they did last year. I mean, last year they were winning, they were scoring 3, 4, 5 goals a game. This year, a lot of their wins have been 2 goals, 1 goal. I think 3 against Brighton might be a little generous, but I mean, Brighton is one of those teams that's kind of on the ropes and hurting. So I don't know, man. But I think it's the score line that bugs me. The score line bugs me here. I think Saka to score first is a great possibility. Kyle Havertz is starting to get it, or maybe Arteta is starting to get it and using Havertz where he's most effective. I don't know. So I mean, Havertz scoring, yeah, sure. I would do that.
I don't think it's going to be a landslide. I just think it's going to be a comfortable Arsenal win, because you've also, like you said, Arsenal playing more games now where they've got the Champions League, but they've still had more days to rest than Brighton, because Brighton played yesterday.
Yeah,
to me, they
that's
played
true.
Yesterday. Obviously, Brighton are new to playing Thursday, Sunday football, and that usually accounts for a drop in form for the teams that are in the Europa League. That hasn't been the case for Villa, but again,
look at West Ham last year.
Yeah, but Villa and West Ham in the Conference League, including last year, play a significantly weaker caliber of team until the latter stages of those competitions.
Yeah, that's true. I think that'll be a fun one to watch on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't trust me too much. I went with the Chargers plus 3.5 yesterday, and I would have lost even if I'd done plus 39. So
I took Oakland 17-10. Whoops. Who saw Las Vegas scoring 63 points last night after a 3-0 loss to the Vikings the week before? Yes. We're the only football-centric team that we'll talk about. Criminal defense lawyers, Nazis, porn, and the NFL.
I actually had the Chargers last week to win plus 3.5.
Oh no.
No, I would. I
Chargers are
won.
terrible.
No, I had them plus 3.5 against the Minnesota Vikings, and it finished 3-0. So I won by
Okay,
half a point.
there you go.
Yeah, I was
We're
thrilled.
terrible.
I got 11 out of 15. It was great.
Man, you are. I
Anyway.
like it. I like it. Might be.
Right.
I'm hoping another 7.
What's that, Derek? Oh, what you expect it? No, I won't go. Derek won't go that greedy. He No, I think it's gonna be comfortable. I think Salah's gonna still have a nice Sunday afternoon. Problem is, I think Man United have got something to prove, but I still don't think they're going to be good enough to actually win. But they'll be more adventurous going forward, and I think it could result in our usual Sunday afternoon goal fest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The Sunday 4:30 kickoff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have not been wrong. Almost every week has been like a ridiculous goal fest.
And it's coming up to Christmas. You get a lot, and this is going to sound like xenophobic, but it's meant with the best of intentions. But you get a lot of people from climates that are not like England in December, and it affects concentration and performance, I suppose, and we benefit from that by loads of goals. Could be entirely wrong, but might be one. I don't know, but.
We'll see how many times Onana tries to play the ball or does something just wild on Sunday. So I'm excited to see him just.
Can I ask about that? Has he just been absolutely terrible?
Oh,
I think it's the fear, because now he's under pressure. It's a case of he doesn't want to make mistakes, which then forces him to make more mistakes. Because he's being overcared, he's not playing how he would have for Inter Milan or Ajax or wherever he was before. And obviously, the media here is significantly different to those countries. Like
was he at Napoli last year?
No, he was at Inter. They made the Champions League.
He was at Inter. That's where it was. He was at Inter. Yeah. He was very good. I mean, Inter made it to the final. Yeah. Lolo, has Onana been terrible or not? I mean.
No, he hasn't been terrible. The problem is Man United have been living their entire season on such a thread that if he makes a mistake, it tends to be crucial. So he has made a few mistakes. And they're even pitting a lot of these goals that, like, it's tough blaming goalkeepers for good goals, even though you're like, oh, had he gone this way, he saved it. He let it go between his legs. Well, he was jumping off the ground to stop any shot here, sort of a thing. So a lot of these where they're not completely his fault, he didn't misplay it. He just maybe had a weaker hand than he thought he would. He's getting blamed for a lot of those as well. I only blame him for his playing out from the back errors.
Yeah.
Less.
And I think that's how I'm judging him as well.
Yeah. And those, he's made a lot, but he's with a team that doesn't play that way and are now being told to play that way. And his back line has been terrible most of the season as well. Like, what do you expect?
I hate playing out from the back. Yeah. I just hate it as a trend.
I think in the case of Onana, it becomes one of these things where you're only as good as your defense allows you to be.
Yeah.
You know, Milan has a very good Inter Milan has a very good defense, and he could just fill the cracks. You know what I mean?
Well, he becomes a sweeper. He becomes a fifth.
But if everything just keeps coming at you the way it is doing, and I think it's just going to get worse because I've read that Maguire is out, which is going to force Ten Hag to play, I guess, Varane, who he doesn't like in his system. You know, at least I think that's what's apparent to me. But you know, hey man.
Two thoughts.
We're the only American show that talks about Man United.
Right. My first thought on it is that everyone tries to play like Edison under Pep. And the problem with that is you're getting people that don't have that ability.
Yeah.
And they're being forced to do it. And that's great for Edison because it reinforces his standing in football, because the more everyone else fails to play out from the back like he does, the better it makes him look. But then also, I liken it to Melier at Leeds last season, in that it became quickly apparent in that final stretch of the season that there was a disconnect between the keeper and his defenders, and he didn't trust them to keep him safe, and they didn't trust him, because it might be a bit different for Onana, but obviously in like 15 of the games last season, something like that, Leeds conceded the first shot on target, which is obviously on the goalkeeper. Like, I'm not mentally
Not
going back
always.
through the circumstances.
Not always, but yeah, if it happens
but
enough.
over time, you do ask, like, why can't you make the first save? Like you say, not all 15 are going to be his fault, but over time, how many of 15 are not his fault?
Yeah, when are you going to start saving the first one?
Exactly. Like, I don't care how you do it.
Well, it's like a pitcher who every single game walks the first batter, and then everybody starts to know he's going to walk the first batter. Like, so just go put a shot on. Just go put a shot on target. Chances are he's going to miss it.
But my overall point is that's probably what, if it hasn't already happened at Old Trafford, it will happen, because they will get further apart, because they don't want to then be responsible for his actions, because then he's making them look bad. He feels they're making him look bad. It's a recipe for disaster. And John, no, you can't get something like Leeds to score 4 goals plus and Peru. I mean, I could get you 4-0 and Peru to score like 33-1 or something, but generally speaking, they wouldn't offer it.
Then Ten Hag was trying to sign Frankie de Jong last summer, and then Frankie de Jong just wasn't about to leave Barcelona for Manchester, and then he basically just wanted to buy his whole Ajax squad. And then I saw the videos this week on Twitter of them trying to do I forgot what the drill is in training, but comparing Ajax training to Man United training when they were doing the exact same drill, and they just skyrocketed the ball around the circle at the Man United training this week. They're like, Ten Hag trying to play Ajax ball, not working, and he just basically wants that Ajax squad that he had.
Well, they hired him because he has a clear style, and then for some reason he's not playing that style. Because he's got a whole bunch of different players that don't play that style, so he's not forcing. Excuse me.
Bless you.
He's not forcing his style on them, so now they're playing no style whatsoever. And you've got a new keeper who is like so good with his feet and is basically a third center back. But you're using him in such a, like, you're not utilizing that, and he's trying to show you what he can do and ingratiate himself to the Man United fans, and he's just getting fucked. I personally love it, and I don't want to see an end to it. I think it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, bring on the demise. Let's keep seeing
the scary part is, as bad as they've been, they're sitting in 6th place, like just sitting there, just like being terrible.
That's because they've not played any of the big teams for about 2 months.
I was gonna say they played us.
I don't know how much that carries weight though, because to be honest, Arsenal really hasn't either. You know,
we played everybody except Liverpool.
You haven't played Liverpool. You lost to Villa. You beat City. You didn't. You drew.
You said we didn't play. You said we didn't play.
But
we played all of them.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
We played all of them.
I'm wrong.
I say I'm looking up who Man United. Okay, Man United beat Sheffield United.
They played Luton, Sheffield, and Burnley in the last month or something.
Yeah, they
amassed like a 5.
United hasn't beaten anybody either.
Forest, they beat Burnley, beat Palace. They basically beat the bottom 10. They beat Brentford.
And you know
That's-
what?
that's
They're
my
they're
point.
showing
They
us
didn't
that
beat
fucking
anyone else.
example. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
Beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you'll be in the thick of it. If you're a
Wolves.
relegation side, beat the teams that you can beat, and you won't be in the relegation battle.
That's why they're still being laughed at. It's because although the form is good, everyone knows really the underlying thing is that as soon as they play someone half decent, the wheels are going to fall off.
Yeah, so they might get absolutely smashed on Sunday.
But I will like to congratulate them on getting a top 4 finish in their Champions League group. So well done on that.
They did. They got top 4. That's awesome. Now, what's crazy is with that issue with Manchester United, they're beating all the teams below them, and then just getting hammered against teams that are above that are normally at their level. This is what I think Aston Villa is doing the opposite of right now. And this is why I do not think Aston Villa are legit title contenders, because the way that they played against Manchester City and Arsenal to get 2 wins and 2 clean sheets is not the way that you go and you play Luton. It's not the way you go and play Nottingham Forest. It's not the way you go play Burnley. And those teams are going to pull enough points off of Aston Villa to slow it down. Aston Villa will probably beat Man United. Will probably give Liverpool a great game. Will probably beat Tottenham. Like, I think they may do very well against the top clubs. It's those bottom clubs where all of a sudden a team sits back against you and you're Aston Villa and you're like, no, we're the minnows. Like, we'll sit back against you, or we'll play this way. It's not the same tactic to go into. And I think it worked very well against Arsenal, and it worked very well against City. And it could work very well against Liverpool and United and Tottenham and Newcastle. But when they play the lower teams, and that's where they've dropped points this season. Nothing from anybody?
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement that I don't see Villa winning the league. I don't. Especially after the Arsenal game, where they lose Digne and Douglas Luiz to suspension. And then they've also lost Leon Bailey. He went off early. We don't know if he's going to come back. It just, it becomes one of those things where it's like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Villa right now.
Yeah.
I think they're marvelously coached. I think they're fantastically deep. And style of play, they play like Arsenal. They are very, very, very similar. And so
you see, it's hard for us against teams like Luton. We play better against teams like City.
Sure. There's always the anomaly that is going to happen. But it just there's so much luck involved, and there's so many things that you need to go your way, and I don't necessarily know that they're going to go the way of Villa as much as I think that there might be other teams, like City might have a little more breaks go their way, Arsenal might have more breaks go their way, Liverpool might have more breaks go their way. And maybe maybe when I say breaks, I'm just talking about the bounce of the ball. And I think for Aston Villa, I think winning the league is as lofty as maybe winning the league was last year for Newcastle. And I think it's also a little different because last year it was literally a 2-team race. This year it's a 5-team race at this time. At Boxing Day last year, there were just two teams that were at the top, and everybody else was kind of
And we were like 8 points clear at that
point. Drifting down. You know, it was basically Arsenal and City. This season, it's, you know, we've got Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Villa, Spurs. You know, those are the 5 teams right now that are vying to win, and I don't see that changing. I mean, maybe some things can happen. Teams get healthy, teams get hurt. Who knows? The fact,
Christmas schedule.
look, I totally understand that, like, you know, that at some point Tottenham was leading the race, and they have fallen off quite a bit. But given the injuries that they've had, and like they're weathering that storm. They lost Van der Veer, they lost James Maddison. Those injuries alone are tough to weather, and the fact that they're still kind of hanging around in that top 5 with those guys coming back in about 4 weeks, it's pretty impressive. You know, I think next week is going to be really tough for Tottenham because they lost Udogie to suspension. And what's his name? Decore for a red card, which well deserved. Another VAR of 20 minutes.
Yeah, another mark of 20 minutes, I would say as well.
You left. I had to carry on.
You did not. There's 2 other people here. Tony hasn't said 2 words. I left to go dig out this gift just to keep you going.
Making excuses, Lolo.
Tony, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts on this situation? You agreed with some things I said, some things Mark said. I saw you nodding along.
Never agree with me.
I was talking about Villa winning the league, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Title contenders.
Because what are they at again? How many points are they off?
They're at 3rd. They're 2 points behind us.
I think they'll still. What are they at? 35?
No, see what after Christmas.
Yeah, I'd say. I keep saying February. I'm gonna still stick with that. If I think they're good enough to make top 4, because Emery just has them drilled, and that's why Newcastle wanted Unai Emery. So I think they're exciting, unfortunately. But I think it's great. I think it's great that somebody from outside of the Super League 6 is doing well. And I'd like to see. Obviously, I'd like to see Man United not make the Champions League again. So I think Villa are good enough.
You see my point that I was making about playing teams
Mark going on and
you,
on.
Oh,
sorry.
That one.
No,
teams playing you differently.
Yeah, it happens to It's been happening to Newcastle because last year, towards the end of the season when everybody started to figure them out, then people gave them like respect and stuff in the sense that they'd like let them try to play. And Newcastle still don't know how to just break teams down like Man City have for the last 10 years, just know how to do. Just, someone's going to park the bus. Man City of all these 20 teams know how to break somebody down whereas
weren't you and I joking about that? Or was I joking with the West Ham fans? Maybe at the West Ham match that we were at in the Europa League.
Oh yeah,
where
it was like,
Serbian team. Just give West Ham the ball. They don't know what to do with it. Just don't try to take it from them. They don't know what to do with it. It was that sort of thing where against you guys, where all of a sudden it was like, okay, you're good. Here, have the ball. What are you gonna do with it? And you guys are like, wait,
Counter,
no,
we
you
wanna
guys have the
counter.
ball. We want to counterattack, and they're like, we want to counterattack.
Yeah.
But you do have to learn. Your team has to adjust and figure out how to win differently.
I definitely think Villa could win the Conference League because
They
they're
should.
probably the strongest team in there. And then
They've
that'll
probably spent more money than every other team in the tournament combined.
oh easily. Because I don't remember how it'll be. So does the winner still get Europa League,
Yeah.
or is that changed
Yeah.
with the?
Well, that's how West Ham are in the Europa League.
Okay, because
Right.
I know they're changing the format, but
Oh no,
'cause-
next year it'll be completely different. Now, next year, every European competition will be 3 separate tiers,
Mhm.
and there'll be no swapping. Like you either go through or you go home.
But I mean, if Villa win the Conference League, do they get the Europa League next year?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure of it. Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's
they'll
why-
have that
That's
That's
guaranteed.
why West Ham finished like 15th, and they're in the Europa League.
Yeah.
Because they won
Right.
the Conference League.
Yeah, and then they
Concentrate on
need to
the
win that
important- the
because
more
they're
important
definitely not going to get
tournament.
European football.
Oh, if
West Ham-
West Ham win the Europa League, they'll be in the Champions League.
Yeah,
Right.
they'll
But
They won't.
no.
They're not going to
because-
win the Europa League.
No,
Because again,
Moyes.
it sounds really horrible to say, but there'll be 8 Champions League teams dropping into that. That will probably beat them, or maybe 6.
Yeah, well, yeah. I also like the rumor. If anybody saw like the wild rumor that Graham Potter would take over at Man United, which I would love to see it just to add to the chaos of what they are going through right now. I'm like, sure, yeah, bring in another manager who plays differently. Yeah, sure, just hire Graham Potter. Yeah, go for it.
Works so well with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't sign Graham Potter unless you're going to be like, okay, you have 3 years at least. Let's
Right.
do something. But that's what Eric
Right.
Ten Hag needs. Eric Ten Hag needs some time. Eric Ten Hag is a very, very good coach. He's in a horrible, horrible situation. Pochettino, same fucking thing. Like,
Oh, that's even better. Oh, it's so
on-
great.
isn't
on
it
the
so
league
nice to
show-
see? Because you're like, yeah, fire Poch. Go out and get fucking
right.
go try to get Xabi or somebody. Like, no.
Bring
no,
Lampard back, yeah, for a third spell.
Yeah.
bring it.
I'd like to point something out. I was watching the Spurs play Forest at Forest, and Sean Dyche was in the stands.
Yes,
He was watching, and we know that Steve Cooper is on the chopping block. Was he kind of scouting
No.
and seeing what?
He,
What,
no,
you
they
know,
play Tottenham on the 23rd.
Because Everton has had the 10, and I read today that there might be a future deduction coming their way.
Nah.
No.
That'd be
Would
like
Dyche pull a Graham Potter and leave
No.
mid-season to go a
No,
little
no,
more talented
no.
team in Nottingham
No,
Forest?
Mark, his team is playing
More talented than
Tottenham on the
Everton.
23rd.
I'm just saying. Why was he in the stands?
That'd be
Scouting.
like
'Cause his
jumping out
team
of
is
a
playing
burning
Tottenham on
building
the
and landing on
23rd.
the Titanic. What?
Okay. All right. So
I
he
just,
was. I didn't think you could do that. I didn't think you could scout
yeah,
teams.
do it all the
If you
time.
buy a
You
ticket,
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in a
It
nice
probably-
Absolutely.
It
Fair.
probably
Yeah.
happens more
Fair.
than you
I
think.
didn't think about that,
So,
ladies
Mark,
and gentlemen.
Mark, you'll see on Friday games and Monday games, every now and then
Yeah.
you'll see some other coaches there.
Mm.
It doesn't happen Saturdays
Yeah.
and Sundays, but
It's not as
Fridays and
uncommon.
Mondays.
It's not.
It's also
uncommon.
not far.
Like Lolo said, more.
Right.
It's more
I
like an debate.
suppose-
Like, can you
I guess
get to and
the
from
only
and
manager
things like
that I've seen in stadiums that the camera has shown has been the manager for the English national team,
Southgate. Southgate was at
Northgate.
Gareth
Milan,
Southgate.
Newcastle
yeah.
the other day. Because Tomori there for Milan too. But
I want that job where
Southgate.
I'm flown around to watch football games. I really want that job. Don't we all?
I was more impressed that Michael McIntyre was there.
Who's that?
Do you know who that is?
Yes, comedian.
The comedian?
Well, calling him that is generous. But...
Oh, come on. He's very funny. He's funny enough, but I just like that they zoomed in. They're like, and here's Sean Dyche, and they're like,
he's funny enough.
Hold on. Is that Michael McIntyre right in front of them? And they're like, yeah, it is. And then the commentator was like, not that many of our American audiences will know who he is, but he is a very famous comedian. I wonder if they all drove there together. They did like a whole 2-minute bit on the US version where they talked about
Okay.
I wonder if Dyche and Michael are carpooled together. I wonder if they got jokes. I know Dyche has some jokes.
If you didn't know, he's a comedian.
Talking about the VAR stuff, just thinking about it, because I was flipping back and forth between Serie A and the Forest and Spurs match of VAR. I really wish they would go back to the beginning of the season where if anyone crowded the official, just straight yellows, because the one time I did watch, the one time I was watching earlier, like Son crowded him, even though he's the captain, but then everybody else was. I'm like, no, just only the guy with the armband can go and talk to him. So I would like that. I would like it where just the guy with the armband, not this like whole crowd, because then I feel like that influences the official to make decisions, because if someone's coming up to him, then he's like, oh god, I gotta make a call now because I have like
when
10 dudes.
When Holland went and
like that
screamed in his face, no card.
Yeah, that should be a card.
That should definitely be a card. That was the referee going, fuck, I think I fucked up, and he just let it all happen as opposed to adding to it.
Right.
But we see that all the time where they fuck up and somebody gets all pissed off and he's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then they go in VAR review and they're like, okay, no, you're right. But those yellow cards stay because fuck you.
Right. And I also hate how the circumstance at the time of a match dictates when he's going to give a yellow or not, because this is UEFA, but Milan Newcastle the other day gives Magnan a yellow card for like literally screaming in his face, like just was like just gave like this crazy reaction to him. And that was like in the first 20 minutes of the first half. So then anything else he did in the rest of the match, he wasn't going to give him a second yellow, because then he would influence the game by like, no, if he's time wasting, if he's doing whatever, that's what you give him a second yellow for, not because, oh, well, I already gave him one in the first, like I really can't, like, no, just if he's doing it, that's what the second yellow is for.
So do you think, Tony, that players who know they got a soft yellow,
they push the edge? They
push it a bit more because they know that the ref knows they got a soft yellow, and that's where we get incidents like in the Wolves, Raul Jimenez, where he had like a soft yellow, and then he this was a couple years ago, he had like a soft yellow, and then moments later it like stood in front of a free kick, and they gave him a second yellow red card for that. And they're like, what do you want me to do? It's a yellow. And he's like, these are both fucking soft. Like, whoa. And everyone else is saying, dude, that's 5 minutes of utter stupidity for you. But that's something interesting that you bring up. Do you think that happens?
I think I definitely think it happens, because I just feel like it influences matches, because the official is nervous to change the outcome of the match. But if that's what he's there to do, he's not there to ruin our Sunday because it's the 4:30 kickoff. It's if a team goes down to 9, well, it's their fault, not his. So I think that's been tough too with VAR.
Well, it's like the pullback of the shirt, where you hear them all the time. That's a yellow. That's always a yellow. That's always a yellow. It's not a yellow if they're already on a yellow card,
which is super frustrating.
Unless the referee wants it to be.
Right.
Which is where
I think with this season, the one thing that has frustrated me the most overall in all the matches is this. And I know it needs to be done because we play 90 minutes, but this like we are timing everything, and if you are deliberately wasting time, or if you are doing something that would cause time to continue, you're gonna get a yellow card. And I think that it has caused far too many suspensions this season. I don't know what you guys think. I've only been watching for a few years, but it seems like this season in the Premier League there has been more 5 yellow card suspensions than there's been for a super long time. And I understand that that's why like there's talk of the sin bin being introduced, but I really feel that it is not only affected the quality of play to have these players miss games because that a time wasting yellow card is thrown in with their regular yellow card that they might get for just playing the game well. And also the fact is that this, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is right. I'm not sure if I'm correct here, but it seems like in the past we've seen 1 or 2 teams have significant injuries and be bit by that injury bug. But it seems like this year that there's been more teams that are dealing with multiple injuries, and that it could be attributed to all the extra time that is being tacked into.
No.
Because I mean, we're talking
God, are
we're
you
talking
the head coach of Liverpool? What the fuck, Mark? Jesus.
Really, you don't agree?
You're the
How could you not agree?
I don't know what
It's
I'm meant to agree or
attributed to
disagree with.
extra time? No, I'm going to talk to Mr. Tom right here.
You're on the
stealing
pitch.
our football.
You're on the pitch for
Mhm.
for however long, and not only that, but you have to deal with all the VAR delays, and you're still on the pitch, and then extra time comes, and it's 12 minutes, and it's only halftime. And then it's another 15 minutes, 9 minutes. I mean, we're talking almost.
Mark, I have to stay after work for hours sometimes. These motherfuckers are making millions of
Are you running the entire time
for 110?
So
they're
I'm
not,
gonna follow you
they're
at
not
work
because they're standing
during your extra time, and
Mark,
I'm gonna give you an elbow
12,
here.
If there's 12 minutes of extra time, that means they weren't running for 12 minutes.
Oh, I so disagree. I so disagree.
With VAR this year, I would just question some of the additional time, and this is all just with my Newcastle cap on. 8 minutes for PSG, and then the lovely penalty in the 97th or 98th minute, whatever that was, and then against Milan this week they only get 4. So it's there were definitely more substitutions and injuries against Milan this week, and then how is there only 4 minutes? And then how are they coming up with this? Because I'm in agreement with Lolo. If anything, there should be just more time instead of making it less. Because
oh my god, no, I so disagree. But that's fine.
No,
because
teams
can disagree with
utilize
me.
it. Teams utilize it. But Mark, I think we're having 2 separate conversations where what you're attributing the more injuries this season to is extra time, and I think what Tony and I were on this other topic is I like the extra time having nothing to do with injuries.
Yeah, sorry.
I like the extra time.
Sorry, Mark.
Fair.
You believe that there's a correlation between extra time and injuries. I can't say that you're wrong, because let's say there was a 12-minute stoppage and then they did 12 minutes of extra time. These guys who are running nonstop have now had a 12-minute cool down, and now they're told to go hit 100% again, and they do. It's less the extra time and more the stoppage for me. Like when you have a 4-minute of stoppage, when these young bodies of muscles are going hardcore and then they have to stop and wait for 4 minutes and then they go, oh no, all good, drop ball, go. And then they take off, then they got a hamstring.
I guess what I'm getting at is this is the first season, at least for me, where I have seen like you used to like watch a match and go, and they start hedging toward it's like, and we're into the last 43rd minute and including stoppage time. We don't know yet, blah blah blah. It seems like this season we are seeing like where 8 and 12 minutes was the anomaly. We are now seeing 8 and 12 minutes is the norm. We used to see stoppage time as being 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes tops. Now we're seeing stoppage time in not only the first at halftime, but at the end of the match. And I don't think you can sit there and tell me that doesn't affect a player physically.
Of course
sure. The clock is the same. But what it does to the athlete physically,
no, it does.
I think is quite a lot.
No, it's factually there are more injuries at this point of the season. There were actually that might not be true, but I read it. There was more injuries in like the first 2 months of this season and last season.
And factually, there are more millennials playing professional football right now than there were last year, which means they're a bunch of punk broke bitches.
I don't think anyone in football is broke these days, Lolo.
I'm talking about their mentality. Right? Rich, broke, mentally broke bitches who just they go, oh my god, I can't, oh no, and then Jimmy says more injuries nowadays because players pull out of challenges and get hurt worse from pulling out than they would from going through. That's Jimmy being hardcore.
But aren't they both?
I don't know if I agree with that.
Challenges, then it doesn't make a difference, does it?
Yeah. No, Mark, I think I'm not saying you're completely wrong, that I think you're completely wrong or anything. I just think that's not maybe that is a small factor of something, but I don't think playing an extra 8 minutes.
No, it's the intensity that they are playing at. Because the Premier League is the most intense football league in the world.
And where did those 8 minutes come from? They didn't come from nowhere.
I pulled them out of my ass. But
I know, but they didn't come from nowhere. There were clearly 8 minutes where you weren't running around like a madman. So
no, but they're not literally resting, are they? They're just standing around.
It's not like they bring out chaise lounges out on the pitch.
That would be bad for you, Mark. That would be bad.
Jesus can flop into it.
After you run a mile, you don't lay in a chaise lounge. Like, come on.
Oh,
you drink a Guinness.
Have you been to Paris? Chaise lounge.
No, they say it's some other different way. They say it's a church. When I was in Paris, yeah.
I'm happy for the added time if it's meant to be in it, but
me too.
When it comes out of nowhere, I'm like, what for? Like, where did you come up with this?
Well, I mean, like, it depends on what side of the 2-1 results are you on. If you have 2 goals and they have 1, and you're like, 9 minutes? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous.
Of course, but if there's a reason,
if it's 1-2, you're like 9 minutes. Let's go, baby.
Right. But if there's a causation for the 9 minutes, even if I'm there was a share down for like the 17th time. Like, okay.
To be clear, I'm only saying that I think the stop-start nature that football has become, partly due to VAR, is why there are an increase in injuries and a certain type of injury. However, I still would like to see the clock stopped because I don't care about their welfare.
Yeah. Fair, I guess.
It's not my job to care about
unless it's your squad. You know,
So,
if it's
no,
your squad
I-
that's getting hurt as a result, you care about all those extra minutes. You know, but
No.
and it's also the
But
like
see,
the,
Mark,
the
Mark,
type,
that's a different argument though, because
it's
Tom-
I don't think
Tom's
it is
not-
a different argument.
Tom didn't mention the extra minutes. Tom mentioned the stop-start nature, which is what I was talking about.
Okay, fair.
Not the extra minutes. The extra minutes, fucking who cares? Play an extra 15 minutes. You got to do it.
But the extra minutes are a part of that stop-start.
We're in
It's-
extra
it's more
time
your
right
muscles
now.
cooling.
And
We're in
I'm gonna
extra
watch
time.
the rain. And I'm gonna watch the
All right,
Ranger
guys.
game, so
Well, we're
no,
gonna
no,
head
you guys
backstage.
can
If
keep
you
going.
guys, if you guys want to continue talking with us, we'll be backstage. So we're gonna toss up the link there. If you want to join us, we can have some people join us backstage. But we're gonna call it quits on this stream today because we are not in Arteta extra time and we don't want to pull a hammy as per Mark's theories. So thank you very much, Mark, for joining us, Mr. Tom, all your penguins. Tony, thank you very much. We love you guys. And thank you to everybody who's been in the comment section the whole time and all y'all out in England and far away where it is past midnight.
And don't
John,
forget
play
about
us out,
Festivus. Festivus
And
next week.
Festivus is next week. The
You're gonna
airing
have
of
to send-
grievances.
I love
Yes.
Festivus.
Oh,
For the
fuck,
rest of
is
us.
that
All
on
right.
Friday?
It's my
We'll
favorite
see you
fake
guys
holiday.
next week for Festivus. All right.
Dude.
Peace from bro.